I'm about to ask you how Kamala was. That's insane of an opportunity to get, and you had to have been on point like during that. That doesn't mean that like
couldn't go your way.
Right. Yeah. How was she? I'm actually like curious. Like what the fuck?
She's great. I mean, she's very kind. She is not like a diva or anything. I've worked with a lot of politicians who you just hate being around them.
I think the funny thing about that, because we're talking about hoop dreams, is that, and it kind of gets into what we let off with, the conversation around YN. And, you know, we're niggas from Chicago. So we get all of the bullshit. I'm pretty sure niggas walk around assuming we are like a paper bag or something. Like, it gets annoying. So I wanted to kind of talk about your, like, how you deviate from that. Because one of the things that we wanted to do when we started this podcast, we kind of just, like, acknowledge that I think we are 4 black men that are doing something very different in like a field.
For sure.
And we definitely like are not fulfilling the stereotype or many of the stereotypes of black men. So in your like transition into being like a pollster in your professional career and everything.
Influencer.
Yeah, an influencer, everything. How did you deal with that? Because we talked about that social capital that it has. So sometimes it's very hard to break with that and kind of like find what you care about.
For sure, yeah. I mean, early on it was tough, man, because like you are told that to exist in certain spaces, you gotta be a little different. You gotta, you know, talk a little differently. Like I had old white people telling me to cut my hair, you know, shit like that. Yeah, really early on, I worked at a consulting firm, a political consulting firm in New York, and it was on Park Avenue. It was old white money, and they were like, "Yo, if we're gonna get you in front of these clients, these can't, like, you got to look a certain way, shit like that." Yeah.
In the 2010s?
Yeah, bro. For real. Well,
it didn't go no.
Cory Booker had that hair act, which is funny because his ass balls. He's bald. But that shit didn't pass until like 2019, 18 or something like that. Right? That's a relatively newer bill.
Which is insane.
What did that tackle?
It was I don't know the intricacies, but it was something about bringing it to the federal level that you can't discriminate in a workplace based off of somebody's hairstyle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously
crazy.
Pointed at black men and black women.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I had all of that, you know, U2 Chicago, you know, stuff like that. But the one thing though, I think going to white schools on the north side of Chicago, like, you know, we could code switch real good.
Yeah.
Hi, sir. How you?
Nice to meet you. Yeah. But you know what though, and this is, you know, I'll keep this quick. One thing I have appreciated about working at His Strategies, a firm I'm at now, which is a black-owned political consulting firm, is that we're just really authentically ourselves, and the industry is starting to realize that if you're going to extract opinions from black and brown communities, you need black and brown people doing research, asking questions the way that niggas talk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna tell you their answer, like some random white guy being like, you know, cold with them. You're not gonna get a real opinion. That's a form of response bias, you know. So I appreciate the firm I'm at now.
Yeah.
You get that. You could build that. You get to build that genuine connection when you're genuine.
Yeah. And you also kind of get more of an idea on how to ask a question and what you should be asking about if you have that cultural background. That's the thing I want to stress, where I never let these niggas get off that argument where it's like diversity is bad, DEI is bad. You physically can't understand the people you're meant to govern and represent if you don't have people from that demographic. It's the most self-explanatory shit of all time. So I definitely appreciate that. I want to ask you, because I put this in there for kind of have you direct the conversation how you want. What came first, the passion for pollster or the passion for being an influencer? And whichever one, we gonna talk about it.
I don't got no passion to be an influencer.
Really?
No, that shit just happened.
Damn.
Okay, hold on. Wait.
In other terms, he liked that for real.
It's really just like I had 100,000 followers on TikTok before I ever talked about politics online. I was just on there talking shit. I was making jokes and talking about like Christianity and just. I didn't even want people to know that I worked in politics because that world is a little bit like judgmental. You know, I was living in DC. I worked at the White House. Like I worked in a consulting firm in DC, and like, and I didn't want them seeing me online, you know, my do-rag and shit.
Yeah.
So I had a pseudonym and was not talking politics.
Damn.
But then eventually, like, it just started kind of coming out. And then people was like, wait, hold up. Hold on, like, what you just say? So I just rolled with it, but definitely the politics was first for sure.
Damn.
I was gonna say,
Damn, that's crazy.
that's actually crazy how you like.
Kind of like you though, in terms of like, well,
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, in terms of where we're from, for politics to be first is kind of crazy. Just because I remember growing up, like that niggas wasn't on that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like niggas wasn't. I remember we used to dress up in like the suits every Friday or whatever. Like JJ would be the president, I'm the vice president, but like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I'm just like, nigga, I'm in a suit.
Yeah, I think the only way, at least for me, I think the only way it could have gotten to this point is if that passion for like politics was there first. Like in the same way, I feel like I did have a passion for being an influencer, but I didn't know how I wanted that to look. Like I remember, I kind of started the same way on YouTube. I was just making all types of bullshit videos. I'm pretty sure we all started that way. Just random gaming videos, random one-off videos, reaction shit. But like none of them was like, hey, I want to do this for a sustained amount of time. And I don't know when I think it was after Trump won. I was like, okay, I gotta learn some shit. And then for like, I learned it, and it coming out, like you get that feedback of people like liking it. Do you think that has increased? Like, I assume you at least kind of like being an influencer. Do you think that feedback that you got has increased like your want to do it? Or is it just kind of like, it's just still your passion?
At this point, I think it's more like, I understand that this is where the fight is.
Yeah.
Like it's online, right? Like this is where people are paying attention. Like, you know, I do TV a lot. Like, ain't nobody watching them clips. Like, nobody, you know what I'm saying? They see the clips.
Yeah.
But like, I'll be on, you know, CNN or something. Nobody's really seeing it.
Yeah.
You know, but then the people I'm talking to that aren't voting, they saw something that was on the Shade Room or some goofy shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, well, I'm in the right place then. You know, at one point I was like blowing up online and kind of trying to run away from that and get back on TV, radio and all that stuff. Then one time I looked up, I'm like, what am I doing? This is where everybody at. And I'm running away.
Yeah. It's that push. So, well, you've been on the Shade Room, right?
a couple times.
Yeah, I think you a few times on the Shade Room. Yeah,
I hope I never end up back on that.
Wait,
have y'all been on the Shade Room?
Not yet.
Don't know yet.
I beefed with the founder.
He beefed with the founder. Yeah.
This what? Yo, let's talk about this though. Bro, he be beefing with everybody. Yo, his funniest beef is with that Bruford ass nigga, that square ass.
Jeff Mead?
Oh my god, bro. That nigga's so corny. Bro, they be stressed. They like, this the last time I'm gonna eat to this nigga. And he go crazy the next time. A month later, I'm not doing this shit no more. This the last.
I've had to be on like a tolerance break because people like him boil my blood to a different extent.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to have a difference in opinion. It's another thing to be like so bad at lying that like 40 niggas call you out for lying and you continue the same. It's so annoying. But he do get fried. That was one beef I had. The founder of the Shade Room was mad at me a while ago because remember when Joe Biden did, it was the Maui fires.
Yeah.
And then like all the big headline was, oh, they only did $700. And then the comments was, but billions to Ukraine, but trillions to Ukraine. So I was like, as you do, you know, Shade Room comments. So I I find like how they reported it. I'm like, you reported about the first thing that they did.
Yeah, they took the first line and just cut everything
the
out.
first like $700 payment in the immediate to make sure people
and they didn't have the article up.
Yeah, then they didn't post all the article. They clipped a bunch of Joe Biden statements out of context, and then they didn't mention like all the other relief shit that they were doing. And this was right when Trump was like running for president.
Shade
so
Room
everyone's
is a
like,
double
we gotta
agent.
have Trump back.
Yeah.
No, for real. I feel like they're getting money from the right.
They
have
are.
to
No,
be.
they definitely are. Bro, they posted on his birthday. They was like,
and then they tried to take that shit down
Donald
real
Trump.
quick.
I'm like,
and he was like, nah.
Y'all niggas is double agent. And they try to make it seem like this is this unbiased news, but it's not about being fucking biased. It's about the framing of you're a black-centered like platform. You put out all of this media and you say all these things for black people, by black people, and then you're pushing the same harmful rhetoric of the right and shit like that to your fan base. 28 million fucking followers.
You know what I seen that made me lose faith? It was around that same time that it happened, and then the Shade Room posted this thing. It was like, doesn't this dude and Trump kind of look like Elvis? And I was like, we're fucked.
Y'all bullshit.
What are we doing?
Yeah, no.
And now we're here.
The thing about it is, bro, y'all.
So you said you had the passion for influencing first before politics. So when did y'all always sit and talk politics the way that y'all do now?
Literally, we would be sitting down for like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours just talking, babbling about whether it's politics or life.
Because we each grew up like around each other. We was in the PlayStation parties and everything. So we was just yapping at first, as kids and everything. And then like as I learned more about politics and everything and took it more serious, I was like, well, I gotta rant to somebody. So I like eventually started like
JJ would be like, me and this nigga would be playing. You ever play GTA?
Yeah.
We'd be playing GTA 5 and we'd be doing a doomsday heist. And this nigga is yapping the whole time. And like, we got so good at the doomsday that me and this nigga would just do it together and just be like running through that bit. So I'm just like sitting there listening. That nigga Trump fucked up. I don't know shit about Trump. But like, that's how we learned.
There's a video on my YouTube channel. It's like a video of me playing American Truck Simulator. It's a game you can get on
I see it.
on Steam. And it's me, him, and a family friend, and it was supposed to be episode 1 of our podcast. And in that episode, we're talking about like Trump, we're talking about like the shit going on. I'm like,
that's
it's
crazy.
just always years ago.
I didn't even know that.
It's like 2021.
We've been talking podcasts since we was like kids. Like since we was in PlayStation parties, like, bro, we need a podcast because we be talking about politics, we be talking about all types of shit. And
that's clutch though, because I feel like a lot of, especially you saying earlier, like as black men, like I feel like if you the political nigga in the group, sometimes you could have niggas that just be like, yeah, man, that shit crazy.
Yeah.
And they don't really want to talk about nothing, you know what I'm saying? But y'all really be,
bro, I done met so many people, bro, because I'm also a streamer. So I done met so many other streamers where I'm like, they come in my stream, hey Matt, yo, what's up? Nah, this nigga Trump, and they, this nigga bust. Like this nigga talking about some political shit. I'm not trying to get it. And I get it. Like I understand, but at the same time, like it was just different. Like when this nigga was talking, I'm like, at first I'm like, yeah, that shit don't matter. But then I start realizing I'm looking around our communities, I'm listening to all the shit he telling me. I'm listening to my mom and them talking about Candace Owens and shit. I'm like, oh nah. I'm like, we gotta bro.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Kind of like you found out, it's like there actually is that community of people who genuinely see the importance of it, and that's why it's like super important not to shoehorn niggas into a box. Even if you are a nigga, that's one of the worst things I hate, is that so many people get dissuaded from caring about political shit because being nonchalant and a dumbass is cool nowadays.
That was me. Literally. On Jesus. Gotta keep it real. Gotta keep it real. When I first started doing like content creation, I was into gaming. Like I'm still into gaming. I was just posting gaming videos all the time. And then when he started getting into politics heavy, I started like, I was looking at him like, I don't really fuck with what he's talking about, because at the time I ain't believe what the real is. And then after I started listening to him and research and doing extra shit, I was like, oh, okay, I was on bullshit. Like, I was straight bullshit.
I think one of the biggest reasons why I ended up carrying through the passion is just because I learned so much. You learn so much in the political shit, and I feel like I just kind of like really fuck with it. So when I got to the point where this nigga can now do like deep dives into people, more than
I would have never, like y'all saying that you at one point recently here, y'all didn't care. I would have never known the way y'all be talking about it. It's like,
I saw a video the other day, or I think it was yesterday, about Zorn. I was like, Jesus,
that's fire, bro.
I think it's so important because because we're going to talk a little bit more about you as a poster and meeting people where they're at. If I can stress anything to especially young men and young black men, is that like, y'all ain't gonna have every right political opinion out the gate,
right?
And neither did I. It's literally
neither did I.
It's a game of time, and hoping that you can have those like influences around you, that can like help make that positive change. But speaking of like getting involved politically and everything, how was your journey on like becoming a poster? Like when did you realize, like for real, that like, okay, I want to take this
like
seriously?
What are the steps you need to take to even become a poster?
I got lucky a lot. For real, if I'm being honest.
What does that mean?
We were playing Duke on national television. I was at the free throw line. And J.B. Pritzker's father-in-law, J.B. wasn't the governor yet, but his father-in-law was watching the game, and he was a big fan of our school. We had a good season.
Yeah.
And he learned a little bit about me, I think, just from what the newscasters were saying. Joshua Dawes, political science, he's a senior, he's Chicago. He's like, oh, my son-in-law about to be the governor. And he just put out the bat signal. He was like, yo, somebody find me this kid. And then
what the fuck? Whoa, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And at the free throw line.
I was just at the free throw line. Yeah. Bro, you never know who's like watching what you're doing.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, and so then he connected me with JB. They put me on his campaign right away, and I was, I had like a lower level job. I really like worked, I worked up. Some folks got fired, and I took some opportunities. I was on my shit, and then actually JB connected me with Kamala when she was running for.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So,
pause.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Water.
It really, and if I can stress something, it really do be. Yeah. The thing that has put a lot of black people behind the 8 ball, if I could go out on a limb, is that fact that we have a significant lack of knowing somebody who knows somebody.
Yeah. Networking. It really be who you know.
That's a severe lack, and that's sometimes it's out of your hands. And a lot of these white boys. It is also exactly that.
Yes.
They got seen by someone. I was researching how Charlie Kirk got his career started.
Yeah.
And some random millionaire happened to be at this like college speech that he gave. And they were like, you need something. And then he started an organization with him like that.
Yeah.
And that organization is Turning Point USA.
Yeah.
We're here 30 mils later.
I think it's just two sides of every story with that. Like, obviously I had to be on my shit, right? I had to be nice.
More than anybody.
Yeah, more than everybody. Yeah.
But I think a lot of people get the fruits from that, and they only talk about how hard they worked, how on point they were. I was on point. Every opportunity I got with then Senator Harris, I impressed her every time, right? We were just traveling around the country. This was when she was in the primaries. And, I was just traveling around with her, going to Iowa, going to this and that. Every now and then she would, there'd be a speech.
How old were you?
I was 23, 24.
Damn.
Yeah.
Cool.
But like every time I spoke, I said something of substance, you know what I mean? And so, but like, I'm not going to act like I didn't get lucky with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because it can be both.
It can be both.
And it is both.
We literally
Usually.
talk about that shit all the time with this. And obviously at some point, like throughout our careers of just influencing, but also just like where we are now, of course we got lucky. Like it can be both of those things.
Sure.
It can be hard work, but also acknowledging that like, no, you had some shit go your way.
For sure.
Right. I think the one of the most toxic things in American like politics discourse is the choice between it's either a meritocracy or you got a handout. Like, you do understand that I talk about, like you said, with this all the time. I talk about how the fact that like I wouldn't be able to have, to those of you who don't know, I have never actually like worked a for real, like behind the desk, like normal person job, because at the time where I started making TikToks, I blew up at like 16 and we were stable enough, especially after the pandemic, that I could just worry about making videos on my phone in my room. And I didn't have to go get a job to cover medical bills or some shit. So through that being set up for me, it allowed me to take like a creative path that most people don't even have opened up to them. And yes, in that, I did my best. I do research. I try to do this shit. But that still doesn't mean that like everything would have been different had we didn't make no money during the pandemic. Or my mom wasn't a nurse for 20 years. They wasn't paying anything to get a nurse somewhere. Like, it's little shit like that doesn't have to take away from anything that you did, because
it's acknowledging.
I'm about to ask you how Kamala was. That's insane. Number the opportunity to get, and you had to have been on point like during that. That doesn't mean that like
shit couldn't go your way.
Right.
Yeah. How was she? I'm actually like curious. Like, what the fuck?
She's great. I mean, she's very kind. She is not like a diva or anything. I've worked with a lot of politicians who you just hate being around them.
Yeah.
She's like it's funny that they ended up calling her Mama because she's like a mom.
Oh, that's so cool.
She's legit like a mom.
It fits her a lot. Yeah.
And I didn't even stay on her campaign. Like I ended up leaving and taking another job, and she's still been very, like, in any interaction, she's still been very kind to me, and I didn't even stick around.
It's dope as shit.
Cool.
So yeah, I mean, that was a big jump start to my career. I owe her quite a bit, and the staff there as well.
Damn.
But that's how when I left her campaign, that's when I got into public opinion and polling research, because I was realizing when we would print out her speeches and stuff, a lot of the language, I'm like, where are they getting this from? How is this written? And it was poll tested language. It was messages that were resonating with people at a statistical level. I was like, that shit kind of fire. I want to see
I did that, how deep that shit like goes.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing about politics in general that I think like a little bit backtracking to like the conversation of like getting young men involved or getting people involved in general. It's like one thing that involved me so much was shit like that, where it's like that psychology of like every like politics, but also how there's so many nuances to everything. And if you start to if you just start to look at this shit, politics is one of those cases where it kind of opens up so many other things for you to even like find out about yourself, find out about fucking emotional intelligence, find out about fucking shit like that, like randomly just like you telling me they like somebody sits down and is like, okay, this is the best way to write this and say this so that this could be portrayed a certain way.
It's with everything.
That's how deep it is.
Yeah, it's one thing with politics that I like too. Like you can't be surface level. You have to dig deeper into different topics to find out. Like,
and I wanna ask you from things that you've seen, especially being someone who's like black, focus on black centric polling. I want to ask two things. One, how were you doing and holding up during 2024, given everything? And two, where do you see like at least one place that you think like black people are at right now, given all the shit that's happening in the country, rising fascism, authoritarianism? Where do you see like through the polling data some of the things that you see that black people are really like focused on right now?
Yeah. Well, for the first question, I lost my battle against the stimulus check. It's just
That
me
stimulus
versus
shit, bro.
niggas, bro. Trump gave y'all
like
two
75 cents?
Yeah, 75 cents, and niggas didn't wild out. Ain't never forgot that, bro. You need 75 cents, bro. I got you, bro.
Like, no,
bro.
No, actually, I probably can find it.
Bro, like I got you.
Like,
so,
come on.
no, yeah. During the election, our firm we were worn thin, and at that point, I run the Black and Economic Narrative Research department of my firm. So we had our hands in a lot of different places. It was stressful for sure.
Oh, I know.
What was it like hours like?
Nigga, this shit was all day, bro. Like, for real.
Just
It was
calls
just, because you're putting surveys in the field and they're coming out early in the morning. You're getting data. Then you're dealing with news organizations that are reporting on your data incorrectly.
So now you gotta.
There's a clip of Wes Moore on Face the Nation responding to my research that said 25%. Or that black men under the age of, I think it was 30, that Trump was going to get like 27, 28% of them. But that portion of my data had a very big margin of error.
Oh, okay.
The poll itself had a 3% margin of error. So that means plus or minus 3 points. But when you look at a demographic that small, the margin of error could be 14, 15 points. So for you to say he going to get this big number, like, it's just wrong.
Yeah.
But they don't give a fuck about that.
Yeah.
They got Wes Moore. They gonna put some shit in front of him.
Yeah.
And he like, whose poll said that? I'm like, well, it's mine, but they're not reporting it, right? So it's just a lot of that.
What is like? So I'm gonna say because
I frustrated.
I know there was a lot of talk about black men. We'll get into this conversation. There was a lot of talk about.
Damn, on K-Dot.
Kendrick fall over at least like one time per episode.
Somebody whacked out his mural.
But I was gonna ask. So when you look at like polling data, and black men,
like a towel.
I know. Oh, you need a towel?
Well, it spilled a little bit.
All right, cool.
Can I get like a
We can cut for
napkin.
a
Yeah,
second.
can we
Take a.
or like it's right behind you, Brian.
Somebody whacked out my mirror.
Paper towel right behind you, Brian.
I didn't see that there at all.
Appreciate you.
Somebody whacked out my mural.
Somebody whacked out his mural. We gotta get something else to hold that goddamn. Oh God, we gotta get. Can we just get an album cover like stand off like Amazon or some shit?
We should have
That'd be
been
cool.
it.
Like what the fuck?
We got that balancing on a plant. We got that balancing on a plant.
You didn't even see it.
His ass be looking demonic. That's some scary shit right there. What, like, you
Every
looking at
time
me?
you see it on the
Bro,
camera,
is
you
you
gonna
good?
die laughing.
Like, what you looking
That's
at me
the
like that for?
I don't know what he been through. It's a hurry up tomorrow. He
For
just,
real.
Are we good?
Yeah, we should.
Are you good?
W.
I say we can put a bottle in front of it so it doesn't slide, or like a different thing in front of it. Yeah, a glass.
Whacked out my
And was I take a drink water if you need.
JJ asked, you low key put me on Kendrick.
Yeah.
You don't remember the conversation we had on the rooftop of the Washington Post building?
What was it again?
You was just going hard. You was like, bro, I was like, I don't fucking that. And you was like, you never heard this one song where he said this. I was like, I don't. Nigga was going crazy. Let me check out Kendrick.
That was me for real.
Bullshitting the nigga.
They be bullshitting
because I love Kendrick, but I be bullshitting the nigga. I be like, yeah, get the nigga dick out your mouth. Start ranting and
him and Allen, they love Kendrick, but they both Drake fans more. So, yeah. So everything was hitting the fan. They was mad.
Y'all was about to throw blows.
And it's even worse to see that nigga just constantly like spiral. It's like, fuck's sake.
Bro, he just don't got no touch. Like, I need him to just
calm down.
If he would have
just, you could just understand certain niggas is not from certain places. Like, a Chicago niggas never doing no shit like that.
Not soon.
Kanye.
Oh shit!
Niggas not wired that way. Yeah. Like you wired to spiral because you're a bitch.
That's simple.
It is what it is, man.
Yep.
Let's
we can get right back into talking about black people, black people. Yep.
Talking about black people.
Yes. All right. 3, 2, 1. With that, I want to get right into something we talked about. There was a lot of conversation about black men and obviously like their turnout and all types of shit. And that 28% number, I remember we seen that Trump got like, was it a slight increase this time in black men?
It was an increase, yeah.
Yeah, it was an increase as well. What like interpretation would you want someone like a Westmore to take from that data?
So Trump didn't really increase. He increased his percentage. Mm-hmm. He didn't really increase his raw vote number. What happened was the niggas that like Trump voted for him in the last election. The same amount really voted for him in this election. It's just that everybody else didn't vote. You feel me? So his percent went up. But it was the turnout was low.
Yeah,
them niggas just go hard for Trump. You know what I'm saying? Like they showed up both times. So that's really what happened. But like there is a bigger thing that's going on here, which like I do think that Black Americans are at a point where they don't feel, especially like younger Black folks, like we don't feel a solidarity to either one of these parties, right? Yeah. And what we say a hit is like black folks are a mobilization and a persuasion target. Like you have to persuade us now.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was just like, oh, you just pull up to the churches, they'll go vote for Democrats. Like, it's not moving like that. Like you said, you know, you streaming, you was doing your thing, like you wouldn't even think about no shit like that.
Yeah, and the shit that was fed to me was the right wing shit.
Right.
Yeah, it's very easy. I feel like the left's been behind for so many years when it comes to that. Now I'm seeing like the fitness creators who are left wing. I'm seeing people in the gaming space who are like left wing because finally we have those influences. For the longest time, all of those mediums, when they contact you, is immediately going to lead you to some like right wing shit.
Literally, you play games, you go look at other creators on YouTube, play the game that you like to play and shit.
Yeah.
And the recommendations, all you see is Charlie Kirk, fucking, what is his name? Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
Wait, so did y'all like go at it? Because if you was kind of getting that side of it, and you was going in, would y'all like go at it a little bit?
I wasn't really like the confrontational nigga. Like I hear it, I'll be like, okay.
I just with this nigga.
You don't want to go at it.
I'll say this, but we was going, even if you didn't know everything, I'm not about to start.
See, my thing was me and him never went back and forth with it because we actually I'm pretty sure went on the same path. Because before, there was a J. William J. when I was like 12, 11, that was down like the Ben Shapiro rabbit hole, kind of. Because what ended
Pull that video up while y'all got me with my pants on my ass. Where the FBA on that? God damn. I want to hear him the taxes is too damn high. I want to see him say shit like that.
It's because I was smart. I didn't record. You know, what happened was when I first got into political content, I was watching two types of content when I was a little kid. I was watching like feminist-owned compilations with Ben Shapiro, and then I was watching like racist people getting owned.
Like it's crazy.
I was playing Minecraft.
It was a wicked
of
time.
the video was he would be in a college,
Yeah.
and they would ask
Same
him a
shit he's
question,
doing
and he
10
would,
years later.
ramble. No, like he would just ramble.
So
Yeah.
and that was
you'd-
around like Gamergate 2016, Trump's coming into power and everything. So like I remember paying attention to that. And they're incompatible. I was watching like a white person will be unnecessarily racist to a black person. I'll be like, fuck them. And then I turn around and go watch like Ben Shapiro. So that's because I didn't know what I was doing yet. And then like through a group of like other YouTubers with time just slowly pulled me like out. I'm checking where people are getting shit from. I'm like, oh, these people are lying. And now we're doing that.
Literally.
and that
everything.
And I'm grateful and lucky that it happened to me at that age because there's a lot of men, especially like younger generation as well, who get to this point and they still haven't been like pulled out of that shit.
A car show the other day. When I tell you it's just little kids running around talking about what the fuck is that nigga's name?
Aiden Ross.
No.
They love his little ass.
Yeah, they do.
They love that nigga. Oh my god.
The nigga that always like, what's your Bugatti? You like, what?
Oh, Andrew Tate.
Oh, Andrew Tate. Yeah.
He's like, I wonder if Andrew Tate's Bugatti's gonna be running.
How
Like,
old?
These niggas was like 9, 10.
No. All right.
They're
You want to know what it is? It's like cigarettes.
Yeah.
You know how they hook every young generation by putting a polar bear on that bitch? Yeah. They put a camera on that bitch. Another generation of kids gone. Like,
I mean, the left has done objectively speaking, has done a bad job talking to men, you know, and so sometimes all you got to do is really just try to talk to men.
That's all you got to do is start the conversation.
Yeah.
They didn't even want to have that conversation.
Let's talk about it in another topic that I wanted to get into. So I recently, and it's set up, but we're gonna get into that topic of talking to young men. I recently saw a video of yours. You had an interview with Don Lemon, actually, which is big as hell.
Shout out Don Lemon.
Shout out.
I got my squabbles with him at times, but I do fuck with Don Lemon. You talked about how we've had this refocus on trying to win men back, and the conversation initially was that black men conversation. I remember there was so much like accountability that was like, all right, black men, we got to be on our shit. But you had made the point that if you're looking at the data and the demographics that are shifting and leaving like the Democratic Party, it's really on the white working class that continues to like vote. Like the uneducated white population obviously breaks a lot for Republicans, and connecting with people on those issues seems to be the thing that's swaying these elections a lot more than any impact that black people and black men have, because black people majority understand the assignment. So the conversation has then become, okay, how do we get white men back and everything? And I want to ask you about that, the onus being placed on because there's two strategies that I've seen pop up. It's either we mute ourselves, like I remember a campaign strategy that I seen Kamala do was that she never really mentioned too much about her being the first black woman president, because we know that like some people get queasy when you talk about that. So it's either,
even though they're thinking it.
So it's either you mute yourself or you lean into it and hope those like economic policies and all type of shit hit the right people. And I think we kind of saw that with Zoran yesterday. Zoran overperformed in areas like Staten Island in New York that are more white, middle, like upper, like working class, all types of stuff. And Cuomo won it, but he ain't blew him out like he was supposed to, because you have that agenda that's like something at least to look forward to. So what do you think, what does your gut say, at least between those? I don't want to put you in a false dichotomy or anything, but like,
You know, if you ask in a national sample of voters in America, would you rather, and this is particularly true among men, would you rather have a candidate that is focused on growing the pie or dividing the pie fairly? 70% of men say they would rather have a candidate that's focused on growing the pie. If you ask them, do you think Democrats are more focused on growing the pie or dividing it fairly, 67% of them say Democrats are more focused on dividing it fairly. Why do I bring that up? A lot of these things that we missing, black, white, men, you talked about the working class, all this stuff, are actually just universal goals. Niggas want to make money. Niggas want to eat. You know what I'm saying?
Take care of their kids.
And we miss the bigger picture that like black men don't want handouts. White men don't want handouts. Everybody wants to feel like the government is just giving them tools and they can be autonomous builders on their own. But when we talk to black men, we talk to them about poverty reduction and not wealth creation. So we're just missing them. We don't have to pick black, white, whatever. That's something that works with all men.
Yes.
You know, and so like you said, Zoran did a really good job of that, right? And that's why like it gets tough sometimes working with these organizations that mean well, and they're like, well, we're gonna talk about how this policy is gonna pull all these black kids out of poverty. Yo, I don't know no poor black niggas. I know they don't got it right now. You know what I'm saying? But they're not poor. Right. You're not talking to them. They will focus on
who wants to feel like that as well.
Yes.
Hey, poor black kid, I'm gonna help you.
The framing is inherently negative, and it's not that you have to focus and be like, well, you know, it's how you approach it, because I can go to niggas and be like, all right, cool. You feel like the government does not represent you or they don't give a fuck. Why is that? Oh, because I'm sitting around here, I'm seeing these same shit around me not changing, nothing outside getting rebuilt, these schools are da-da-da. All right, cool. Let's see how we can make those things better. You don't have to say a lick about I'm making these school better for niggas.
No.
Because that, you doing that in and of itself is going to benefit the white people too.
Yeah.
So when you only talk about not the opportunity that niggas can have or people can have, you only talk about the fact that you don't have it now, and let's see how you immediately create that tone of like, let's give you a government handout, even if you don't mean that.
And you low key have a helping hand in that other side, which is the framing of being like them be calling motherfuckers victims and shit. That whole bootstrap shit. Y'all be like reinforcing that shit the same way. If every single time we talk about black people, we got to show the poverty, we got to show the fucking flip flops like Cuomo shit. We got to show the goddamn like
Cuomo's
like goddamn bro. Like niggas just want to do what everybody else want to do.
When the child tax credit first got introduced in the House, our firm got hired to do the messaging on it. And we ran a survey where we tested the language. Same bill, just talking about it different ways. One way was the way that Nancy Pelosi wanted to talk about it, which was it was going to be Social Security for kids. It was going to pull all these kids out of poverty. You probably heard that messaging. It pulled 50% of kids out of poverty. We ran that. The favorabilities on it were something around 63%. We took the same bill and we proposed it as something that was going to allow you to get back to work. You need a child tax credit? All right, it's $2, $3 so you could get back to work. In that framing, you make shit happen for your family. The government just removing some barriers for you that shouldn't have been there in the first place for real. Right. You know what I'm saying? But you make shit happen for your family. That's 70, 80% favorability on that framing. Did Pelosi go with it? No. But
thank you for watching this long. If you haven't already, subscribe. What is you doing?
What is you doing?
What are you doing? You think we just sitting here doing it for nothing?
You think you're gonna sit here and not
need
shit?
to
Like
eat. I know you're not subscribed. Click it.
Cool.